Alright, so let's keep on pushing here. It's only 19, it's a little frustrating. Oh, this is going well down here. The goal is take that, and then he'll be completely surrounded. Interesting. So I think he's attacking there just to kind of try and distract a little bit. Alright. That amphibious assault, I know I've already whined about it enough, but God, it's annoying the hell out of me. I mean, yeah, I'm kicking his butt, but still. It's just like, come on. It's getting a little ridiculous. Sure. Got 61,000 supplies. I think I could sell some to the US. Keep our positive relations. I really want my battle commander down here. Come on. This is craziness. Sweet. Completely surrounded. Look at that. 85 all of a sudden. Boom. Alright, and let's take... So I got mass assault. What does that do again? Oh, nice. So it just increases your organization and your morale. That's pretty handy to have. Air. Air superiority. Which one are you? Come on. Oh, here we go. That is definitely something I will want to have later on, but right now, since the Chinese don't have an air force, I don't have much to worry about there. That MP stuff's more for a little bit later. I still haven't decided if I'm going to annex or puppet. You know, I'm not going to puppet China. It's just a complete waste. But... Aw, propaganda fail. But I may, like, partially puppet. So I think there's a way to... Whoa. That went up pretty far. There's a way to, I think, just get the coast. And I don't think I'm going to do that. But if we want to play... part of the attractiveness to doing that is... Let's see here. The coast area of China contains the majority of their industry and resources. With it in hand, there is no real need to occupy the entire country or waste further time fighting the Chinese and their feuding warlords. Yeah, let's go with that. So, here is the thought behind this. Okay, bear with me now. I know a lot of you are like doing acquire territory, acquire territory. Well, first off, look how long it's taking us. Look how many resources we're expending, really on like divisions that we probably would not use otherwise. But furthermore, historically, let's do that. Historically, the Japanese would have not annexed all of China. They would have probably done more like the seize the coast sort of thing. You know, again, they were kind of forced into war through overzealous commanders. And you just look at how vast China is. There's no way the Japanese with their resources could have controlled all of China. And so they were actually trying to negotiate through the US with something sort of like the seize the coast result. The problem was, for the Japanese at least, the Chinese were completely not willing to negotiate, and the Americans were not amenable to the Chinese or the Japanese taking that land either. So that's kind of what fell through. So anyways, we are going to go with a historic approach, at least with regards to seizing the coast. We may, however, I have not decided yet, but we may decide to go after Russia, which the Japanese did not do. They made it like kind of a little attempt, and then got their asses handed to them and decided at that point, yeah, we're not going to do that again. But we may go after the Russians. That is perfectly possible. So once I get these all up to 1940 levels, then I can start getting my paratrooper technology going. Because again, like, I mean, and here's another good example, right? Okay. It's about time some fascists start trying to influence us. Latvia is like way over there. If you look at production, right? I mean, look at, what's a good example? Here we go. So once we start researching these, you'll see it takes well over a year, if not longer, to build just one aircraft carrier. And so we need a lot of industrial complex to build up our naval fleet. And if we're wasting it, I don't want to say necessarily wasting it, but building army divisions instead of naval or instead of marine divisions, for example, and so on and so forth. Yeah, you can just see that being a big drain on basically our war effort long term. Short term, yeah, it seems like a great idea, but I think, vanilla version, it seemed very practical and almost kind of gamey to just totally annex all of China. And I think even on Black Ice you could annex China and still control it with the cavalry, kind of like I do up here. But I think the substantial difference is it just takes so much more time, I think, to... Hey, we got it. Sweet. Leave those guys there. I'm going to just take my cavalry, throw them in there. Let's see. He's staying there. We'll leave like one guy there. And let's send him back. Okay, sweet. But so in Black Ice, we could take China, I think, still, and annex it. I think it's still definitely doable and viable, but it's going to take a long time. It could very well go into like 1940, maybe even close to 41. I am not... Resource-wise, I don't think China gives you as much as... What's going on here? Why is my... Who's strategically bombing me? You'd be kidding me. Am I seriously getting strategically bombed? No. Oh. What the hell? I didn't even hear about this. I don't even have a leader. That's kind of problematic. Okay. Well, we are going to put an end to that quite quickly. Intercept. Normally it warns you, like gives you like, hey, by the way, you're being invaded. And it probably did. I just clicked, closed it because I'm stupid. Okay. Let's see. Can I... No, I don't care about you guys. Add war goal. And I cannot... That's right. Alright, so... Not quite sure what that means, but... Ah, there we go. Nice. That's what I was going for. And I will admit, I play a little bit different playstyle than a lot of other players. A lot of other players will annex all these places. I try and play a little more like realistic. Realistically, very few countries are annexed. I think most of the time they're puppeted. Even the Germans tended to puppet a lot of the countries that they conquered. So for example, like Czechoslovakia, or Yugoslavia rather, after they took Yugoslavia, they just puppeted it. They did annex, Czechoslovakia and I believe Poland. However, they were, they puppeted Norway, I believe, and Denmark. So you don't always have to puppet, I don't think, or annex rather. All right, so we've taken this area here, and if we go to the diplomacy map, here we go. All right, so that's what we're looking like right now. My hope is I will push in here. Take this little area, use the river as my defensive perimeters. My hope is once I land here, if that ever happens, I will then be able to... I think I'm going to do it anyways, now that I've taken this. We're going to punch over here. I don't think... I mean, there's definitely an advantage to being able now to push from here, and I probably will at some point if I mean, sees the coast. Yeah, so anyways. There is one thing that one advantage I will not be getting from having China. Because I think they have... Is there a way for me to look at it? I don't think there's a way to look at their bonuses. But I think they get the Straits of Thailand or something like that as the Taiwanese Straits bonus. So that's one thing I will be forfeiting by not annexing China. And then I might also lose out on a couple of the strategic resources. So like right here, I may not be able to get that. I'm not sure. I know it's definitely up here that we get, but I don't know if we get that. So I mean, but again, if you want to play, I'm trying to do a little bit of a realistic play style here, so I'm going to be giving some of that up to play realistic. So all right, okay. So I'm not sure what to do next. Well, I know what to do here, but I need to figure out if I want to keep any guys here, right, and whatnot. Alright, welcome back, guys. So I just took a quick break. I apparently figured out why the amphibious assault was not working. So that was a dumb move on my part. So I'll show you kind of what I was doing. Let me get these. Let's see here. Okay, so for example, let me show you here. So we are going to withdraw from this invasion for now. So if you look here and see this assault ship flotilla versus passenger ship. So apparently, and I think this is pretty realistic, right? Passenger ships cannot land as far as amphibious assaults are concerned. Only as assault ship flotillas, as well as you know, other ships that you'll be able to research in the future. So what we're going to do is we are going to pull our forces back. Let me show you here. All right, anyways, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull my forces back temporarily, get my Marines onto that flotilla assault ship. And then we are going to refocus our attack down here into Guangxing. Going to knock them out of the war there. Again, the strategy being that of flexibility. The worst thing we can do is allow the Chinese to concentrate, dig in, and put up a resistance. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep bouncing around, slowly chipping away at all his allies. I will probably, instead of taking all these guys in Shaanxi and having to wait all the time to move back, I'm adjusting my strategy here, and so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take these forces in Shaanxi there and cut those guys off and push up there. So make this kind of a part of our Operation Northern Tiger. And then all the while we'll be assaulting down here with our 1st Marines to establish a beachhead, and then we'll bring in our troops and land from there. So. And I think what I'll do here is I'm going to fast forward just briefly so you don't have to sit there and stare at my troops regrouping. Oh, that's too bad. Alright, cool. And admittedly so, I could be a lot more efficient probably with my research, but I kind of, you know, I'm not going to sit here and spend 10 decades trying to figure it out. But I'm essentially going to sit here all on the bottom here. Just land. Land at the various beachheads. Establish a presence. Force the Chinese to kind of spread out, and then we'll ping back over to the west there. So first down here, and then we're gonna bounce back and hit the west coast. So, all right. So I'm gonna just take out these passenger ships. But I'm going to keep the assault ship with the rest of that fleet. That way I can get the coastal amphibious assault bonus. Those coastal battleships are pretty sweet for amphibious assaults, doing the coastal bombardment. I know I said I was going to fast forward here, but I think I'll just... I got my guys back here quicker than I thought, so let's just do this here. Oops. Now, one unfortunate thing is for that landing craft, you can only put two Marine divisions on it. And then the other technology that we're going to unlock that allows us to do the amphibious assaults, you can you only put one per. So I'm going to have to ratchet up the technology as well as the build for those particular naval units a little bit later here in the game. No. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So let's get them. So unfortunately, the one thing I don't like about the game mechanically is that if you have multiple transport unit, like naval units in a port, you can't manually select, at least I don't know how, the ships that it goes on and just kind of auto it. So the way to fix that, at least the way I found to fix it, is I just temporarily have those vessels moving out of the dock, and that way when you go to load your guys onto it, they'll load on the correct vessel you want them to load on. Yeah, see, I can only put 2 on there. Shoot. Okay. That'll do. See, what's weird is that if we had even one passenger ship in this fleet, then I wouldn't be able to do the amphibious assault. Pretty weird. So we're going to have to land in Thailand there, or Taiwan rather, briefly, rebase there so that we can then assault Guangxing. These coastal battleships apparently do not have very good range. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward here to the amphibious assault. Alright, welcome back. So, oh, okay. Apparently that was much easier than anticipated because they didn't have anybody here to stop us. So that works out. Further illustration of the advantages to having complete naval superiority. Because I'm sure they did not expect us to go from the east coast there that we were assaulting now to, or yeah, they're east coast, now down here to the south. So what I'm trying to do is I also have put together an army task force that's going to be following up this beachhead here, with the intention being I want to take this as soon as possible before he has a chance to adjust. And see those 3 purple areas? Those are the 3 objectives I'm shooting for. If I take those 3, then Guangxing will probably surrender as a puppet. Knock them out of the war. And I also have my carrier fleet down here to provide some air cover, as well as some interdiction in the event that is necessary. Still, it's only 38, so my CAGs aren't going to be as effective as they're going to be later in the war. But it's better than nothing. So. And you're going to see, if you haven't already, I'm already starting to research a lot of CAG upgrades in carrier air groups with the intent of really trying to use those as my primary air superiority force. I'm still building somewhat of an air force, but those CAGs I'm going to rely on very heavily once we go to war with the Allies, just because a lot of the combat's going to be happening too far away from various airports. Or, as you've seen, air forces go through their organization pretty quickly, especially if you're having to relocate them to different airports every few months, which is what's going to happen with us, at least in the early term, just because we're going to be pushing out pretty fast. So I'm just going to do rebase, that way he just drops them all off right there. Quicker that way, I think. Yeah. Alright, there you go, that's what we just dropped off. A boatload of troops. My concern here, if you saw that little slash red, means my guys are in low supply currently. So hopefully my supply line catches up and starts dumping a bunch of supplies in this port quick. I'm a little worried I dumped too many guys here at one time, but we'll see. Figure go big or go home, right? I'm using my cavalry, you know, so when I first started playing this game, I didn't use cavalry hardly at all. Because they're not a combat unit. They suck in combat. But what I found is that they're absolutely phenomenal at establishing a front line. So if you can bring some cavalry with your attack and use them to kind of rush forward and secure territory for you, usually they can hold on long enough for you to get that envelop or advance that front line to kind of the way you want to do. And so I've really, especially the Japanese, more than probably any other country, utilize them, actually build them. I never used to build cavalry because I thought they were kind of a waste of time. But as you've already seen with like Shangzi, right, they're very, very useful. One, in kind of dealing with partisans, but then also two, pushing out and securing, you know, expanding your front line much quicker than you might be able to do otherwise. I'd say the theory is really built around the Blitzkrieg that the Germans use. The only difference is we're using cavalry instead of tanks. So obviously tanks are better, but you can use cavalry in very much the same way. So I'm thinking probably if we get to the point where we're attacking the get over to India, I'll probably have some mechanized units that I'm going to attempt to do kind of that same theory of Blitzkrieg. It's just a matter of whether I can build enough mechanized units to make that possible before we actually go in. Alright, so I'm just taking every single guy I got here, just kind of randomly. There really isn't too much of a method of my madness here of throwing guys out. I just want to get everyone moving, and then as the situation develops, I'll start kind of adjusting who I'm sending where. And what we'll do is once we take out Guangxi here, well, hopefully take out Guangxi, we'll then refocus our assaults on the coast back, you know, where we were originally at, along with that cutting off those divisions up north there. Since they're up there, so might as well use them. Right now I'm just trying to figure out what else I got available in the event I need to move more guys down there. I don't know if I have enough. I'm definitely going to start landing some troops along these beachheads here, though. Start securing those primary points. The goal being I want to completely cut mainland China off from the rest of the world, and so I'm going to try and seize every single port they got. That should help a little bit with the war of attrition. And I'm assuming there's no guys here, but to be safe, I'm going to use my Marines anyways. You'll see a little bit later on, if you haven't played Hearts of Iron before, there's a technology that unlocks radar, and then you can build radar units. And then what it'll do is, for example, here, this little port here in Taiwan, if I had a radar there, it might actually show whether there were troops on the mainland or not. But currently I can't see them, either because my intel isn't properly giving me information, or I don't have it properly set up, or they don't have guys there, so that's possible. So one thing I'm doing here is I'm already kind of repositioning myself for the campaign against the Allies. I want when I go up against the Allies, I want to have several paratrooper units, along with my amphibious assault being better teched up with those amphibious assault boats. And then I'm also going to need to tech up my navy a bit more here. So I took that easily. There's nobody there either. And I think what you're seeing here is that because of our invasion of Shangzi, and because it took so long, we received an unexpected, unanticipated benefit from that, which is they pretty much sent every division they had up north, forgetting the fact that we had a navy that we could use to pivot. So now he's probably scrambling to get back down south here. So not quite sure why these guys are red. Maybe I don't know. So all right. So I'm going to use that river there to the west of that little province as a defensive perimeter, and then probably move up like I'm doing here with that Marine. Just move them up one, just to give me a little bit of a buffer. I really want that area, Fuzhou, because that's got a strategic resource, so that's going to be one of our next hits. We're going to hit that one next. There's nobody there, although you can see a guy that's moving up there. I think what I did here was I thought I was taking that strategic resource, but I actually landed at the wrong one. So yeah, so let's actually take this Marine. I think I'm going to go land him up there, get that strategic resource. Elite light infantry. Interesting. I didn't even know that existed. Why is that attached to a garrison unit? It's kind of weird. Where do you come from? Huh. It's kind of ironic, right? You like lump up your entire army in one province and it looks like you have a boatload of guys. But then when you start executing operations and start spreading your units out, all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I need more troops. I don't have enough troops. With the Germans, it's not a concern. You just build more troops, no big deal. But with the Japanese, it's easy to keep pushing your navy back, and then before you know it, you don't have enough time to build up the navy size you want. So I always try and be a little careful not to overdo the number of land units that I build. Here, let's see. So I'm just reorganizing here just to make sure these guys are actually attached to a command. It's very important that your guys don't get overextended with the corps or the groups that they're attached to, because then they lose all those bonuses, and then also they suffer, I think, a supply input penalty, which, especially when you're on the offensive like we are right now, can be very problematic. So, okay. These guys are taking a little bit to push out, but that's expected. Oops, there's combat going there. Because this is not only jungle, but it's also a lot of mountain down here at Guangxi, which is an explanation as to why we didn't even see that garrison unit there until we started moving into the province. I didn't plan that very well, did I? Alright, so I'm going to move those guys probably up to Taiwan. I think that way they're a little closer. Once these guys over here in Shaanxi are in position, I'm going to start cutting through. And he's already moving those guys out of there. Look at that. Yeah, alright, so we're not going to wait any longer. I don't want these guys to get out of there, so we're going to try and envelop them before they have a chance to get out. So I am going to cut right across, and if we are successful, we could probably wipe out maybe 10 divisions. Was that maybe 10? Maybe a little bit more than that, possibly. And then we are also, while doing this, let's see here. Yeah. Alright, so we pretty much got three things going on right now. We're doing their amphibious assaults along their ports. We're invading Guangxi, and we're cutting across up the north there to wipe out a number of their units. Really, I'm doing that for two reasons. Obviously, one, to take out their divisions, but I gotta move my guys in that direction anyways to get them back to the naval ports to get them in position to invade the coast. So might as well take advantage of the direction they're going and make it a dual purpose. So. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll start off right here where we're at. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll carry on our three-pronged attack. Yeah, good times. Alright, thanks guys. See you on the flip side.